welcome to the program, Roundtable, on the combined service of ASO Radio and television. Today is World Environmental Day, so to speak, but it was celebrated yesterday. And indeed, we'll be talking about the world and the environment. Environment simply means that we cohabit with things that we use, the water, the trees, and whatever. All this, they coexist with us. And how we use them give us the opportunity whether we can survive it or not. Usually, environment does not really need us, or the world does not really need us, but we need the world to survive. And so we need to be very careful in the way we handle it. Of course, today, there are so many things that are already going on where we now deplete the environment, the ozone layer to a very large extent because of industrialization we have in the world. And so we have to ensure that indeed it is properly managed. And that's why today in the studio, we shall be talking about World Environment Day. Don't forget it was celebrated as a day set aside by the United Nations. And we have people who are considered to be knowledgeable about the environment. They call the environmentalists. They will tell us basically why this world is very smart and considered to be environmental day, so that they tell us basically for those who are watching us and listening to us. Don't forget, Roundtable comes to you every day from Monday to Friday where we talk issues. And this program is segmented. Segmented in the sense we have two different groups that will be speaking to us on this program this morning. We have people who are going to talk about World Environment Day, and again, some other person will be coming into the studio to talk about Abuja Master Plan. So these are the things we're going to do this morning. In case you are watching us using ASO Television, be ready at a point where we're going to give you the opportunity to call and make contribution on that. Or in case you are listening to the radio and you're driving, you park, in case you want to contribute, you call and ask questions, because the world has truly marked World Environment Day. And so with me in the studio this morning, without really taking much of time, I have an associate professor with us in the studio, in the person Professor Jibril Abdullahi. He is of the Department of Geography and Environmental Management, University of Abuja. It's a pleasure having you on this program this morning, Professor.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. Alongside the professor, we have the Vice Chairman, Nigeria Environmental Society, FCT chapter, in the person of Oluyede Wingan. It's a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, because we don't have enough time, we're not going to go on the short break. We just go straight, basically, to explain to us, basically, why did United Nations decided to have World Environment Day to be marked? Professor.
Thank you very much for the questions, but let me provide a background information to this. What constitutes Environmental Day today started as far back as 1972 in the first ever World Conference on Environment, which took place in Stockholm, in Sweden. And that was an attempt to provide a kind of framework to protect the environment. I don't know, protecting the environment because the population is increasing rapidly. There is need to meet the basic need of man. And therefore, environment is the immediate recipients of these activities. And that has been the issues since that period of 1972 to date. But incidentally, the theme for this year's World Environmental Day is only one Earth. Why do we say it's only one Earth? It's only one Earth because it's only one Earth that provides the basic activities for man, which include provisioning services, regulating services, cultural services, and supporting services. And these are services that are required by man. And that any attempt by man to degrade the earth, we are going to pay for it. And therefore, the need to maintain and restore and protect the environment is very critical at this period of our national life and national development. And that is the key focus of this year World Environmental Day.
Professor, thank you so very much. Let me get back to the Vice Chairman, Nigeria Environmental Society, FCT chapter, in the person of Oluyede Wingan. Do you share this position shared by a professor?
Yes, thank you very much. I think the prof has actually done justice in responding to that question, because the earth is just one. We have only one earth. If there are issues with this earth, if the earth collapses, if there are degradations, if there are issues that affect human health and etc., humans basically will be at the receiving end. And that is why it becomes very imperative for everyone, both the elites and the non-elites, to take stock of the environment and also be accountable to the environmental services that the world or the earth provides for us. Thank you.
Yeah, when we talk about environmental services, can you name some of them?
Yeah. Some of these environmental services, we talk of the provision of food from the water bodies. We talk of the ecosystem, the services the ecosystem provides in terms of atmosphere, land, water, and the globe generally. These services, once we are not able to assess them, it becomes difficult for human survival in terms of health, in terms of provision of food, in terms of every other thing.
Okay. Let me get back to you, Professor. Categorically, you put it in a way that whoever that is watching or listening to us will basically understand where we're really going. Was there a problem that you felt the Stockholm meeting should be held like the way it was held? And what are those problems that we felt at a point threatened the existence of the world that we felt it was important for them to do what they did at Stockholm?
Yeah, at the initial stage, the world was very, very unserious about the environment, because what we're interested was about economic development, industrializations, and so on and so forth. But they got to a point that the development, industrializations, economic attainment cannot go on without taking care of the environment. Because that is the point they start noticing that the environment, in other words, the Earth ecosystem was undergoing a lot of ecological deterioration, ranging from ecosystem fragmentation, ecosystem modification, biodiversity loss, climate change, water pollutions, industrial pollutions, you name them. And that look, and even the increase in populations. And that look, if efforts are not put in place in terms of policy framework, in terms of conventions, in terms of collaboration, inter-country collaboration, then we are in for problems. And that is why since that period, effort has been put in place. From Copenhagen Conventions, the ozone layer depletion convention, the Montreal protocols, the Rio de Janeiro conventions, and we have many CAPs, we have the Conference of Parties and what have you. These were put in place to address the seemingly increase in environmental problems. And if you situate it in our own country, we have a lot of environmental problems that is ravaging the countries. And that we cannot attain development alone, cannot be building industry alone, cannot be building road alone without looking at the effect on the environment. And that is why this theme this year is that only one Earth. Because it's only one Earth that we drive whatever we drive from it. Like I said, what we drive from the Earth are enormous. But essentially, the derivation from the Earth are divided into three major groups: supporting services, cultural services, regulatory services, and provisioning services. We're talking about supporting services, we're talking about ecosystem, soil formation, where we drive agriculture from. We're talking about cultural services, aesthetic value, recreations, spiritual value. Regulating services in terms of climate change, water purifications, and so on and so forth, or flood mitigation, flood abatement. Provisional services are the basic food we derive from the environment. So all these are very important, and that if we don't take care of the environment, don't take care of the earth, we are not likely to get to this supply will be there. And again, it is when we take care of this environment that these resources will be continually being produced, because the environment operates in a way that the moment we go beyond the carrying capacity of the environment, then we are in for trouble. It is because the carrying capacity has been exceeded, the equilibrium. Every environmental system has equilibrium balance. The moment that equilibrium is distorted, you can have problems we are talking about. Erosions, soil desiccation, soil deterioration, that is the problem. And all these things this framework are being put in place to address this seemingly environmental problem in the country and in the world.
Okay. Well, as Vice Chairman, Nigerian Environmental Society, FCT chapter, what did you do? What are the ways did you deploy to ensure that people should become conscious of how one world could be used?
Yeah, thank you very much. As Nigerian Environmental Society represented in FCT chapter, we have done a lot of awareness campaign. As a non-governmental organization, we go to organizations to enlighten them on the proper ways of for instance, waste disposal, on pollution control. We go to schools to catch them young also. We collaborate with government bodies to address some of these environmental challenges that have been mentioned.
Are we just joining the world to mark World Environment Day, or we have noticed some kind of challenges in this country for the fact that we are misusing the earth?
Yes, there are a lot of challenges, a lot of challenges. For instance, if we come to the north, we can be talking of challenges like deforestation in the north. If you go to the south, you can be talking of challenges like air pollution, water pollution, and generally you can also be talking about land degradation as a result of the global climate change that is already ravaging the world. So Nigeria is not just joining the whole world to mark the World Environment Day, but we are using this opportunity to also address those basic challenges in our own climb here. For instance, we in the FCT, one of the major environmental challenge that is affecting the FCT municipal area is waste management. You will agree with me that if you go around FCT, you will see a lot of illegal dump sites from the communities. Some of these challenges, we go around, we go to the nooks and crannies of the city, we sensitize people. We've held several workshops, we've talked to people, and we've been collaborating with the government also.
Okay, let me find out from you. We have Jabi Lake.
Yeah.
They're situated here in Abuja. If you take a drive to that particular lake, you will notice water hyacinth is all over the place. Yeah. And that shows that that particular lake is not properly taken care of. Yeah. And you are in charge of the environment, and you have a society that controls what you do here in Abuja. To what extent can you say your presence has been felt to ensure water hyacinth is removed, and then allow us to have clean Jabi Lake, as much as we don't have any other place that we can see water except that particular lake? To what extent have you shown your presence there?
Yes, like I said, we have been collaborating. We are a non-governmental organization.
Yes.
We are basically supposed to create awareness. We are supposed to be the watchdog of the environment and raise the red flag to the relevant government agencies. And that is why we have always collaborated with, for instance, the Abuja Environmental Protection Board to ensure that all these challenges, not just only the water hyacinth on the Jabi Lake, a variety of environmental issues in the FCT, we've been addressing all that in collaboration with those government agencies that are directly involved in addressing those.
Who are you referring to, those government agencies? Like?
For instance, I mentioned that Abuja Environmental Protection Board.
Right.
We are in close collaboration with them.
Okay.
In addressing all these issues.
Okay. So what have been your major achievements since you began, since you came into existence as Nigerian Environmental Society? Yes,
we've been able to create awareness.
Yeah, aside from creating an awareness, is there anything visible that one can see that this is an impact made by the society?
Yes, we also educate. We educate the public on proper waste management strategies.
Yes.
We hold workshops in that regards. We've been doing that.
Okay. For how long have you been doing that now?
We've been doing that for, at least Nigerian Environmental Society was established in 1985.
Fine.
Yes.
Now that we celebrated World Environment Day yesterday, and you knew very well it was going to come like the way it came, what plans do you have on ground to ensure that this year's World Environmental Day is seen and being marked by Nigerians? What did you do?
Yes, that is what I have just said.
I mean, this particular
one. One of what we have done is this sensitization.
Okay.
Getting people to know that the environment keeping or sustenance or sustainability is in their hands.
Okay.
It is not one person who will handle it. It is even beyond the government alone. Government cannot do it alone. We are sensitizing people.
Okay. By the time you leave the studio, what will you be doing in the next few days or weeks?
Well, in the next few days, for example, tomorrow.
As a continuation?
Yes, as a continuation. Tomorrow we are having a summit in Shehu Adwa Center, which we are bringing government agencies, relevant private sector bodies. We are bringing them together to discuss the challenges and prefer solutions and way forward.
Okay. Let me get back to Professor before we allow those who are watching us or maybe taking time to listen to us using 93.5 FM. And like I said, in case you are driving, you park and make your contribution by joining us on the conversation. We are looking at World Environment Day, and of course, the theme for this year's World Environment Day is One Earth. You know what the Earth is? Professor has really explained that nearly whatever we do, we derive from the Earth, and when it is distorted, it becomes a problem. In the FCT, Professor, you being an associate professor at University of Abuja here, and you are the HOD of that department. Where are the inputs you have made to ensure that FCT remains safe?
Thank you for that question. Interestingly, like you have observed, we are in academics, and the job of academics, we do research and teaching, community service, and research. I can assure you that for the past 10, 15 years, we have published a plethora of works on the state of environment in the Federal Capital Territory.
Did you submit them to the authorities for them to know that this is...
We are into collaborations with FCTs, AAPBs, and we have even done a lot of work with them.
Okay, before you continue on this, let me now allow those who are watching us or probably using 93.5 to listening to the radio or to the program, so to speak, to call a well-known line that is always being said here on the frequency. So you to now, contribute or join us on the conversation. The number again is 09057 408 127. In case you are just joining us, this is Roundtable on the combined service of ASO Radio and Television. And today we are celebrating World Environment Day. It was marked yesterday, and we are continuing trying to sensitize people who are watching or listening to us, basically what that particular event is meant for Nigerians and the world over. We seem to be getting a call. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. Can you tell us your name and where you are calling us from?
I'm calling you from Hussein Zone 5.
What's your name, sir?
Yeah. My name is Ambassador Adi.
Okay, thanks for having you on the program. Go ahead.
I would like to ask your guests for the robust presentation they have contributed to their efforts in, changing the orientation of the people, especially in Abuja. For over a month now, we have been having issues and challenges with power stability. And basically, the majority of the service providers in Abuja don't have other alternatives than to use generator. What is their focus? And what do they have in mind to neutralize the emissions being generated to get energy, especially in Abuja? So what are they thinking? And how long is it going to take them to ensure that people key into reduction in the emission being generated as a result of services being delivered?
Okay. Thank you very much. Both of you heard what he said.
Yeah. Thank you for the questions. You see, there is no game fact that the power outage has been on for about 3-4 months, and people resort to the immediate source, which is the generator. And the generators have the potential to emit CO2 and carbon dioxide and carbon dioxide into the atmosphere with the implication of climate change. Yes, but the thing is that the issues of environmental protection, it has to do with the state government, the federal government, and the local government. The federal government provides a framework to addressing these things. Like I said, I expected that AAPB has the sole responsibility of determining the level and how the materials are used in a very safety manner within the FCT. But on this aspect, I don't think the AAPB is doing their job. And that is why I thought I should be going much later. You see, essentially, when there is a mission, who pay for it? It's the public that pay for it.
Yeah.
They probably pay through their taxes. But I think we should move away from that to what we call polluter pay principles. What do I mean? If you are using generators, the AAPB should deploy a mechanism to check the level of emission, whether it is within the minimum level or maximum level, and they will have to pay for it. But nobody is doing that. If you won't do that, you generate a lot of money for AAPB, a lot of people are being employed, and the environment is protected. It's a win-win situation. Let me also tell you something shocking to you there. Apart from this, what he's talking about. In the FCT, people are, the houses are being built every day. Estates are being built. Where did they get this sand mining from? Go to all the vegetation, all the forests in the FCT, they are being degraded. Nobody's talking about it. Go and check from Buhari, from Kubwa, from Nyanya. They have degraded all the soils and what have you there because of the building. The APB is not talking about it there. In the next 10, 15 years, Abuja become highly degraded areas. So, and I also expect that the APB, who are responsible for the protection of the environment, should come up with a mechanism to charge those people, pay for it. That's number two. Number three, look at the level of development of housing estate in Abuja. 10 hectares of land given out. There are trees in these hectares of land. These trees are being removed. Do they pay for it? No. I think it is high time we do what we call tree tax. If you are giving hectares of land and there are 200 trees in that place there, the APB should be able to enumerate those trees and you pay for it. Because the trees is a public property. So these are things that are supposed to be done to address this thing. But you as an individual cannot do it. It's from a policy formulation, and this policy is entrusted in APB. But I don't think the efficiency to do it, we have not been seeing there, and I think they need to do that.
Okay. Let me ask Oluyede Winga. The professor has given you a very serious challenge. You as a society, and you are based here in the FCT, to what extent do you follow some of these regulations to ensure that we don't have some of these challenges that he is enumerating here?
Yes, thank you very much. Just like I said, we follow up with these government agencies. We are a watchdog. We are supposed to raise flags, red flags, when we see some of these things. And that is why we go to them, we write to them, we notify them, we work together with them,
yes,
to ensure that they do what they are supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. So do you go back, do you have any feedback mechanism to ensure that what you have told them, they are really doing it?
Yes.
So that you'll be able to assess them properly?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Let's read out the number again for those who are watching us or listening to us to make contribution in case they are interested to be part of this program. The number is 09057 408 127. The number again is 0905 7408 127. That's the number. Now, let me get back to you, Oluyede.
Yep.
If you check during the rainy season, particularly in Abuja, most places are overflowed to a certain extent that lives are being threatened. And sometimes it is as a result of, like the way Professor said it.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. Tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Your name and exactly where you are.
Yes. This is Peter calling from Guarupa.
Okay, Peter, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Peter. Is Peter there? All right. Peter can still call back. The number again is 09057 408 127. 09057 408 That's the number to join us on the conversation. Let me get back. Get back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, you listen to him, and as a result of the planning here in Abuja, haphazardly, waterways are being blocked, and when rain starts falling, the rain becomes a threat to even the houses and lives as well. And we have seen that people have been flooded, carrying away to a point that we don't find them at the end of the day. If you are in Abuja, to what extent are you being carried along to ensure that when houses are being planned, some of the suggestions you are making are equally taken into consideration?
Yes, some of these suggestions, just like we already know, when we give these suggestions, we go back to them, we follow up with them, we engage them in roundtable discussions, we engage them in various social dialogues to ensure that they do what is supposed to be done in revamping the environment.
Okay, let's pick this call. Hello, good morning. Wow. 0905 7408 127. 0905 7408 127. Join us on the conversation. We are looking at World Environment Day. Of course, the theme of this year's World Environment Day is One Earth. You know what Earth stands for? Nearly what we do, we derive it from the earth. And any attempt you distort it, it becomes a problem and a challenge to most of us. It leads to even various diseases as a matter of fact because we don't use it the way we're supposed to. And so we need to be very careful. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, your name and place of call?
I'm Lawa calling from Abuja.
Pleasure to have you on the program this morning, Lawa.
Yeah, it's good to be here. I just want to make a few contributions. First of all, we are just finished discussing about the generator emissions in Abuja. And I realized that one of the major implications that was talked about is contribution to climate change. I just want to remind the speakers and also listeners about the context of the environment in Nigeria. Now, we know that the World Environment Day is one Earth, but the truth of the matter is some parts of the Earth face larger consequences for the degradation of the environment than other parts. For example, when it comes to climate change, we know that the Western world have contributed much more than third world countries like Nigeria and much of Africa, but we are at the suffering end of it. So when we are talking about emissions, we should not be talking about contributions to climate change because our contribution to climate change is almost insignificant compared to the rest of the world. Instead, we should talk about air pollution and death resulting from air pollution. Because we know, for example, in Lagos that air pollution is one of the major killers of people, not also directly and indirectly with health effects. So I just want to ensure that, I just want to remind the speakers that when they're speaking, we should speak within the context of the Nigerian situation. I also want to correct one error, something like an error, I think. You mentioned that flood is happening as a result of haphazard planning in Abuja. I'm the town planner by profession, and I just want to correct that it's not as a result of haphazard planning, because no matter how much planning you do, when development and implementation doesn't follow the plan, that's when you have issues and environmental problems. So it's more about haphazard implementation, haphazard development, and non-conformity with plans that are made by professional town planners. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord, for calling. Town planner will be here to tell us more. So just in summary, categorically respond to that because time is no longer on our side, so that we'll take the next person who's actually going to deal with some of these issues the last caller made.
Yes, quickly. He's saying the last caller was of the opinion that the amount of emissions we have in Nigeria or in developing countries not as much as the Western countries. That is correct. There's no doubt about that. But he has also forgotten that environment has no boundary.
Of course, yes.
So if you think you are emitting in small quantities in your areas, and it goes from your areas and go to another place there. So environment, you think locally, you have to think about what you are doing within your environment there. Don't think that because you are doing in a small way, it will not affect the others. Yes. Environment has no boundary. It's not a political boundary, and so on and so forth. Whether they are doing it in Europe, plenty, or in China, it's affecting us here. Yeah. Secondly, what I also want to think about this is that we are concerned with only one Earth today because it is important because it enthrones ecological integrity, it enthrones international equity, and more importantly, when you have only one Earth and you have ecological integrity, international equity, it also brings about economic emancipation.
Exactly.
So for me, the major challenge we have, if FCT is concerned, is that let us imbibe the culture of polluter pay principles.
Okay. Polluter pay
principles. If you violate the environment, you pay for it.
Pay for it. Well, time is no longer on our side. Let me get back to the Vice Chairman, Nigerian Environmental Society, in the person of Oluede Winga. A summary form, basically. Is there anything you would have loved to say, but you didn't say, being the Vice Chairman, FCT chapter of the Nigerian Environmental Society?
Yes, thank you very much for that question.
In summary,
for that. What I would love to say is to call on the government to carry the Nigerian Environmental Society along in many of these policy frameworks and implementation. We are an NGO. We are here to support the efforts of the government. We know that the government has been doing a lot in addressing environmental challenges. But as an NGO, we can always prefer technological solutions. We can always prefer intellectual solutions. We can always prefer solutions and suggestions to some of those challenges. So we want more collaboration. We want more support from the government.
All right. That's how far we can go on this segment. By the time you people leave, we are going to have another personality who is going to talk to us on Abuja Master Plan in the person of Nathaniel M. Atebije, who is going to tell us more about the Master Plan of Abuja. I want to appreciate the professor for being with us on this program this morning to talk about World Environment Day. One Earth is the theme, and you have really explained to us basically what we should do. And you asked us, indeed, when you pollute, you pay, right? Yes, we should try as much as possible to see that happens here in the FCT.
Thank you.
The Vice Chairman, Nigeria Environmental Society,